Hello YouTube and welcome to Go Girl Gaming. It's been a little bit, sorry about that, but there really hasn't been that much going on to talk about, at least that I wanted to talk about, in the game that I'm really currently using as my main game. I play other stuff, but I always have a main game, and right now that is the oldie but the goodie EverQuest II. And I am very happy to say that we were all pretty scared for a little while when Daybreak took over, that our game was just going to basically fall into disarray, disrepair, whatever. But very happy to let y'all know that that has not been the case. And even though it was very, very quiet there, particularly in April and May, or not April, but May and June, things are going to pick up exponentially starting in July. So I want to talk about what has, as much as I can remember, because there actually has been quite a bit, what is going on now and what will be going on in the very near future, because there is a lot of activity that will be going on starting in July and going straight on through till the end of the year. So let's get started. Let's get started with just a couple of little brief updates. They are still working on the last announcement that I got regarding server mergers is that it is still something that is in the works. I've never considered server mergers, particularly for a game that is as old as this one, to be a bad thing. If you have low populations, then to make the game more entertaining, definitely merge some of the low population servers together so that you feel like you're not playing by yourself. I mean, if you want to play by yourself, there's plenty of RPGs out there that you can do just that. Nice offline RPGs. So those are still being worked on, but as far as I know, no ETA on when that will occur. They are also pushing forward with the new PvP, PvE time lock servers. So this is basically a drive back to nostalgia. They have already either started or implemented this in EverQuest, the original, and now they are going to implement it later on this year in EverQuest II. It will not be as, at least so far, all indications are it will not be as nostalgic as people will like, as the Isle of Refuge stuff was reportedly deleted. So there will not be a start on the Isle of Refuge. There will be starting zones. Currently, it is planned for Darklight and New Hallis, but as people have suggested, they may actually either change it or allow you to start in not the old versions, but the current versions, so to speak, of Kinos and Freeport. So that is still being worked on and worked out, and who knows, with all the, I'd like to say whining, but I'll be nice and say encouraging of the devs from many in the player base to somehow, some way get the Isle of Refuge starting back, particularly for max nostalgia. And I'd like to see it myself because I heard it was really cool. That would be nice. I just don't, I personally don't see how they'd be able to do it, but heck, who knows. So that is not going to happen, but it's basically going to be for nostalgia, going back and going through the material at the appropriate level. So there won't be a opportunity to just blow through. There won't certain aspects of the game won't be available, such as AAs at the beginning. Mercenaries won't be available. I know all the PvP people are saying they should never be available on the PvP server, but us PvEers, or at least me, and some of the people that I know, it's like, no, I want my merc. In case my buddies aren't on, I want my merc. So And sometimes even if my buddies are on, I want my Merc. I'm very attached to my Merc. I renamed them and everything. So, but they've already put out 2 in-game surveys. Of course, until the servers go live, those will be for the entire population to vote on. Once the servers go live, then those surveys will be held on the PvP and PvE time lock servers respectively. So the first survey that came out, and I voted on it so already, so it's gone. Otherwise I'd show it to you. Had to do, basically most of the questions had to do with the marketplace, but the first question was how quickly did we want the content on the time lock servers to be unlocked. And the choices were 30 days, 60 days, 30 days, and then a vote, 60 days, and then a vote. And personally, I said 60 days because if we're going for nostalgia here, we should not be plowing through the content. So I said 60 days and a vote, but I have no idea what the results of that poll were. I don't know if they published them. I have not looked, so whatever. Then the rest of the questions were marketplace questions. Things like, do you support even having the marketplace available? If so, are you okay with all of these cosmetic items? And there were a bunch of cosmetic items like, do you want to be able to buy pets? Do you want to be able to change your race? Do you want to, whatever, be able to change your sex? Have potions to change your sex. The other thing was there were a couple of XP questions regarding XP potions. Do you mine XP potions? Trade skill XP potions, I think was one. I know vitality renewal potion was another, and then just general XP but limited to only 50% gain. And the last question had to do with, do you mind if we sell bags on the marketplace, and if so, do you only want small, medium, or large? And large meaning 24, and that by far is not the largest size in the game as it currently stands, but probably the largest size up to whatever trade skill 24 makes. And I don't remember. This is my tailor. I could actually look, but the carpenter can make some. I know my carpenter can make 48 slot boxes, and since they took away encumbrance, that's what I use. So there you have it. Plus there are some bags that you can get in game, not in game, that you can get right now from the store that are much bigger. There are bags that you could get from holidays. I know I got one from, I can't remember if you had to do something for it or if you could just buy it. I know, what was it, Bristlebane, there was a bag you could make. I never made it, so I don't remember how many slots it was, but anyway, that was the first survey. The second survey that came out was to name the server. So you could do I only do PvE. I delete the PvP servers because I don't PvP. I don't care. So I let the PvPers, do what they want and hope that if they're not planning on PvEing, that they leave the PvE stuff alone. So okay, I had to pause right there because the guildmate that I'm going to be running some dungeons in popped on. So we're going to pause on the time lock server stuff. I'll get back to that. And instead I want to talk about some of the stuff that they've put out now. They just put it out a few days ago, maybe last week, and they're called Fable Dungeons of Fadewire. There are 3 advanced solos, which I also believe are also heroics, and there's also a raid or 2. And the reason I have my persistent instance tab up is because it will tell you the name of them. So the 3 advanced solos that we're going to run while I'm doing this video, and then I'm going to talk about the other stuff that's coming down the pike as much as possible while we're running these 3 Dungeons, but the Fabled, I don't know how to pronounce that, Acadechism, the Fabled Court of Innovation, and then the Fabled Crypt of Valdoon. All of these already exist in another form because I've run all of these before as regular dungeons, but now they have them in advanced solo, which basically means that for those of us that have tunes at the top level, which I do, I'm on my level 100 right now, we will be able to get some good loots. Now, they've already said that you will not be able to get a full set from running these, but if you already have a full set of, well, of course, if you're a raider, you do what you do. But I don't raid in this game. I raid in another game, but not in this game. Anyway, um, you should be good going into the new campaign that's coming out in the fall, between the items that drop, and there are some nice items that drop from this, versus uh, your yellow your yellow thingied, I'm sorry, items that you pick up from the new content and the new content dungeons. So those are the three. I'm going to reset these. And of course, I did some enchanted. That's from the moon. All these that you see here, all these grottos, that's from Moonlight Enchantments, which comes every month. And I did those to pick up some items, because a lot of items actually, because there is actually a cross server contest that's going on for decorators, and I'm definitely one of those. And as you can see here, we're in our guild hall, and this is not normally, or this is not by default what it looks like. We have done a lot of renovating, and we are quite pleased with our renovations. We think it's beautiful. That's the garden room back here. It's just a garden room that I had started in, and I always drop off my tunes here. We still have some other spaces that we have not planned out, but this is the crafting area, and we love it. We love it. So if we decide to change it again, well, but we doubt it, because we enjoy it. And then of course our travel room is in here, and I'm not going to go any further than that because that room over there is not done. We do have a couple rooms downstairs that we have done and that we enjoy, but yeah, we like to craft. But anyway, there is a contest that is being sponsored by, I believe, Homes and Tomes, actually, which is a guild on Antonia Bale primarily, but it is cross server, and we've entered it. But that's for personal homes, and I believe you had to enter it by June 20th, and or say you were going to participate, and then you have to have your stuff posted by July 25th. So I spent a lot of time in Moonlight Enchantments gathering some things. The theme was deity, show us your sacred space. So and it was on, I did it on this tune, along of course with help from my carpenter tune, and that will be going on shortly. So when it gets closer to that time, I will give you a tour of mine and my this particular guildmate here's sacred space, which is not on this tune but on a different tune for him, but it's on this tune for me. So that's going to be coming down the pike, and we'll talk about that later. So a lot of people that are into decorating are doing that, but we are going to get ready to go to Butcher Block, because that is where you can enter all three of those Fabled Dungeons. You can also enter them from where they originate, but Butcher Block is easier. They've installed a new door, and so when we get there, if it's anything like a couple days ago, it will be wall-to-wall people taking advantage of the new dungeons that they have installed. So I am going to pause, get over there, and then I will start talking again about all the stuff that's going on, and then you can also see us running the dungeon, the advanced solo version of those dungeons. So be right back. Okay, we are in Butcher Block. As you can see, there are quite a few people here because this is the door. And the first dungeon we're going to start with is the Acadesium, whatever. And we're going to go for it. So, if my guildmate will pull us in, we are ready to go. As you can see from the bottom there, the Fabled Acadesium Advanced Solo. Because it's just the two of us. And there are what? Are there 2 raids for this? For this new stuff they put in? Is it 2 raids or just 1?
There's 1 raid zone, but it's available in 2 modes.
Oh, that's how they did it. That's right. There's 1 raid zone, but it's in 2 different modes. So regular and challenge, right?
Correct.
Okay. I have no idea if you guys can hear my guildmate or not. For some reason, these lovely little recording programs work just fine initially, and then they decide to be a pain in the butt. So this one is actually through Crushbone. So this would start in Feydark, Greater Feydark, and I am going to get away from this door so I can back up. And I am going to target my guildmate here so I can heal him. Ready when you are.
There is a quest by clicking on the banner over here.
Did we get this last time?
No, I just discovered it this morning.
Oh, so be in mind if you do come in these lovely dungeons that basically mouse over stuff. Because there are quests and there are other quests and whatever. Just mouse over stuff. You'd be surprised what you may find. So I'm going to put a hot on you and get this party started. And my guildmate here is a kick-ass ranger, so you know I just kind of heal him a little bit every so often. I might throw in some DPS. He's a beast. He's a sexy beast!
That's right. I'm gonna body pull these 2.
That's fine. So the other thing, let me finish telling you guys about, I think I got 5 minutes before we go to the next video. Or
Boss time.
4 minutes. Oh, yep, here's the boss. 4 minutes before I go to the next video.
And when you're ready, this is the one that we will get ads on.
Oh yeah, this is hard.
So when you see ads spawn, if you want to pop an AoE, that's fine.
Okay. Ready? I get a little quiet for that intense stuff. Fable Spirit!
Fabled Spirit. That's a mage piece.
Does Celeborn need it?
I need to check.
And I pulled up my tracker if you didn't. So far, I'm not finding him, so he's not close to us anyway.
Yes, those boots would be an upgrade for color.
Okay, take him. Need him, in other words.
We got Shane.
Alright. Fable Spirits nearby.
I see it on my track. Let me see which way he's moving so we can intercept him. Alright, this way.
Okay, that is one of the